are you most proud of in terms of things that you've accomplished or done in your life?
Well, it's an interesting question. I'd like to say I'm most proud of my accomplishments as a father, but I'm not sure I accomplished a lot. I just had great kids and a great wife. so, so that's my greatest joy. In terms of accomplishments, there were two or three things that I really feel good about. One is The Art of Virtue. That was a work of love, and I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed my work on the Seven Seas of Thinking Clearly. Nothing much came of that, but it was certainly something that was a great blessing to me. And then there were two other little incidents in life that I reflect back upon that I I would like to think they represented who I am. One was there was a lady that I knew. Her son went to high school with me, and I knew that he didn't bathe often, but I didn't understand the situation. And later in life, I called on her. She lived in a house way out in the kind of out in the country, and she didn't have any running water. She raised her children in at home without any running water, and I got to know her because I just stopping by. I thought I'd try to see if I couldn't be of some help to her in one way or another. And out of it, two things kind of came about. One is that one day I went to visit her just to see how she was doing, and she was in great distress because she had. It was at the time that Vietnam, not Vietnam. Was it Vietnam? Yeah, Vietnam had fallen, and there were a lot of refugees coming to America who had been helpful to the Americans. And when the northern Vietnam was taking over, their lives were at risk, and so they had been evacuated. And so she had heard that they were looking for people to sponsor some of these families from Vietnam, and so she offered to sponsor a family, and so she had picked him up and brought him to her home. And obviously there was no screening that had gone on because her place was not at all suitable for a person to live in other than her. It was cluttered, it wasn't clean, and it was okay for her, but it wasn't good for other people. And so, at any rate, she was just so distressed because she had got them there, and they couldn't stay, and so they went back, and they were just sitting at this government place while they were trying to figure out what to do with them. So I went back and went into Denver to see what was happening with the family, and so at any rate, I saw immediately that they needed help, and so I invited them to come to our house. And so I loaded all 5 or 6 of them in the car and brought them back to the house, and tried to explain to your mother what we were doing. But at any rate, it turned out well for them and turned out well for us, and that was a good thing. But then I got thinking about this lady out there with her without any water and running water, and so I thought, well, I could maybe dig a ditch for her from where the water main is on the road to her house, and we could get water to her. Oh no, she had a well. And so she had to walk out to the well. And so what I did was I dug a ditch, probably about 100 yards, to fill up with, so put the pipe in, and so that she could actually get water pumped into the house when the windmill went. It wasn't a great arrangement, but it was better than what she had.
What was Mom's reaction when you brought home the family of refugees?
Well, she was her great self, She pitched in, and we made things comfortable as we could, best as we could downstairs, and tried to figure out what we were going to do with them. But it was a challenge for her.
What did you learn most from those refugees when they were living with you?
The great lesson I learned from them was they had some teenage children and two adults, and none of them could make enough. So they ended up getting jobs, but these were low-paying jobs, and not one of them alone, or even two or three of them together, could have earned enough to make a living. But with 4 or 5 of them working, they were able to put together a livelihood and have a place to live and be able to make a transition to independence, and they did that really well, and actually ended up joining the church. And so I just learned that when people work together, they can do so much more. and that's one of the great blessings of family, is that there's not you're not alone. You have this support group that can help you through difficult times and help all of you together through difficult times. Mm-hmm. And I think that we're going to be living in times where that's going to be important for all of us, to be honest, and as the last days come closer. So that was a great lesson for me.
Wasn't that at a time where, like, our family was really struggling too financially?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. I didn't have a good job at the time, and financially, of course, that was probably much of our lives while your kids were growing up. Was I was struggling with employment, and we were struggling to make ends meet. But yeah. But the great blessing in all those years was your mother, who knew how to help us make a dime squeak, if you will, who knew how to get the most out of every penny we spent and how to really make it work with very little. And so we're all indebted to her for how well we made it through that period.
Yeah. One thing that I've always loved about you is how much you open up your heart and how easily you give of what little you have to those that are around you, and how much you are willing to put others first, and you have such an enormous heart, and that's just like one of the hundreds of stories that I've seen you demonstrate that true Christ-like love. So thank you.
Thank you.